What do you make of the events that have just been described by the Paris prosecutor François Moulin? Hello, are you hearing me, Ricardo?
Yes, I can hear you now, yes.
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to know, what do you make of the events that have just been described by the Paris prosecutor François Moulin?
I tend to strongly disagree. First of all, this is a self-inflicted criminal with a criminal history. This is far from terror threats. This is a reality. This is a very dangerous assumption to mix criminality with terrorism acts. This is a criminal that was stopped point blank, decided on the spur of the moment of what he wanted to do, accordingly reacted, and the trail of evidence is very clear. You do not need to be an expert to discover this. The real danger here is that the real terror organizations do not work in this type of way. They don't use pellet guns. They do not use fake ammunition. They use the real thing. And when they have a target, they do not do targets on premeditated public adversary. They do targets in a way where they are very well calculated and not spontaneous, but done in such a way that when the target is struck, that the target is very precise and accurate. This is far from a terror attack, and it's very dangerous for the public to believe that this is from a terror attack.
The attacker was known to police. He had a criminal record. Red flags have been raised about possible Islamic radicalization. How did he fall through the cracks? Well, this is where the lack of sharing of information comes in, which we have mentioned for the last 2 years from the ECIPS side. First of all, it's unclear how they point out the form of radicalization. If he was radicalized, then surely it is the state's responsibility to have prevented today. The fact that they have not reacted to that means they had either lack of evidence or it was an assumption of radicalization. And that is in itself very dangerous, because we have said before that this confusion will continue provided information is shared. And it's very likely that this information on this subject would not be found on several other databases around the world. And taking that into account, that this is not something that could have been prevented at the same time, considering that there's an act of spontaneous on criminality. The most important here is, and the public has to really understand, and also the government, that if they constantly mix these kind of figures, that when the real attack happens, they will not be prepared for that. I think just a reminder that the motivation of the attack has yet to be determined. They haven't made any comment about that yet. But thank you for your insights, Ricardo. Thank you for joining us in your time. And that's all we have time for. That's all from us here.